Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to our third part of our network infrastructure automation series. So this is the third segment of our summer series here. And today we're going to be going over visualization and alarming with our Profi Cloud. Today's presenters are going to be myself and Justin Shade, the product specialist for wireless, and Yuri Camilleri, who is the product specialist for our control products. If you've been following along the 3 automation series, we had 2 earlier parts. One which was going over network management using REST APIs and PLC Next, and how you could use PLC Next to automate and monitor your network devices via REST APIs. The second part was taking that information with PLC Next and our PLC Next Edge Gateway and pushing that data to a cloud platform. And in today's segment is going to be taking that data on the Profi Cloud, visualizing data, and showing how you can configure the dashboards and use alarming to use that data. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Yuri and let him take it away.
Thank you, Justin. Good morning, everyone. Again, thanks for taking the time to be live with us over here and watching this. And just a little note for those watching live, we have a little bit of delay in between what you guys see on the screen right now and what we are doing it. It's about 20 seconds to 30 seconds. So if you have any questions, just post your questions on the Q&A, and Justin will be monitoring the questions, and he will let me know if I may stop or not to answer a question, okay? So again, over the last 2 webinars, we went through, hey, here are cool things you can do in your network infrastructure, whether it's OT only or IT or IoT. And I think last week, yeah, the last webinar, we covered the PLC Next Edge Gateway, and one of the topics in that presentation was Profi Cloud. And Profi Cloud is the proprietary cloud service from Phoenix Contact, okay? So, and I'm gonna go over Profi Cloud a little bit, what it is, how it works, what can be done in it. And the goal over here is to show you that it is easy to use, and you don't have to be a cloud solution architect to do cloud data and cloud visualization, okay? So let's start by addressing a few points on the how we get data to the cloud first, right? So I just want to have some reminders on that topic. Just give me a second, I'll share my screen. So, all right. So you may be seeing my screen right now. Let me send live. All right. So I have a few things going on. First of all, today I'm using PLC Next Engineer as my gateway to the cloud. So if you're familiar with the platform already, and I believe most of you are, we can design a PLC program, and we can have tags in that PLC program. And those tags can be Profi Cloud tag. Okay, and Profi Cloud tags, they as easy as checking a box. So let's say you finish your program. Okay, you have it running, your PLC is activating your sensors, it's reading the values from the field, you're ready to go with the machine. Now you want to send data to the cloud. All you need to do is to go into your project, and you see those boxes, you check them as Profi Cloud, and as long as the PLC has connection to the internet, okay, you will connect to the cloud and your data will pass, okay? Then the next step is in the cloud, okay? When you go into Profi Cloud IO, And the website is proofcloud.io. Okay. And I know some of you guys may have seen proofcloud.net. Proofcloud.net no longer exists. I mean, it's still online, but it's being migrated into proofcloud.io. So this website, proofcloud.net, and you can see the disclaimer over here, has been switched over to proofcloud.io. Okay. The registration process is free. There is nothing you gotta pay in the beginning, no credit card information, nothing like that. So any of you can go in right now and make yourself an account. And if you have a PLC Next controller or any other devices that can connect to ProofCloud, you already can play with 2NT metrics for free. So as soon as you log in, the first thing you see is what I have in the screen. It's called the device management service. And you can add devices over here. You can delete devices. You can see the health, the state of health of your devices and what's going on. In fact, my PLC right now has a LED D-light yellow because I have a IO card which is disconnected. So, and I can see another device which is not online now. And if I like to add devices, I just use the UUID, and any ProofCloud enabled device will come with an UUID printed in the enclosure itself. So if you just hold your PLC Next controller, you're gonna see the UUID printed. If you have one of the EM Pro energy meters, also will have one of those UUID printed in it. Okay, so let's keep going here. So the next step is understanding that ProofCloud has services. Okay, device management is one of the services that we provide. Okay, we have EMMA services, and that's for EM Pro devices only. That's for the meters. Okay, then we have the time series data, which we are going to be going in a little bit. Impulse analytics, and that is enabled for surge protection analytics devices. And the services store, which is important, and the services store is where you see the pricing, and you can see that device management is for free. Then you have time series data that we charge per tag, and those two other services, they have a flat fee per year, right? And the time series data, which is probably the most interesting of all, here's how the pricing works. We have 20 metrics for free, then 200 metrics, 500, and 1,500. And metrics, if you're asking yourself, what is a metric? Okay, go back over here and I'll show you. In PLC Next Engineer, when you check one of these boxes, that's one metric. Okay. And a question that I get a lot. Well, if I have a program and I have all these boxes checked, am I getting charged for those tags? No, you're not getting charged until you tell ProofCloud which metrics you like to use. So if you go to service over here, you can see under that device, okay, that device, what are the tags coming from that device and how many of those tags are assigned to time series data. And as you can see in my project, I have 6 of them. And it tells me that I have 6 of 8 being assigned to time series data, okay? And I still have 14 available metrics over here in my account. Okay, and metrics are per account. So if you buy, let's say 3,000 metrics, you can split those 3,000 metrics within your devices. It's not per device. Okay, keep that in mind. So it's your account has access to 3,000 metrics. It doesn't matter where those metrics are coming from. Okay. So let's get to the cool stuff, right? So once you do all this configuration, selecting metrics and so on, you're ready to create dashboards, right? And dashboards are created in a platform that we selected called Grafana, and Grafana is also hosted inside our AWS instance. And Grafana is a very friendly way of creating dashboards. So you understand it's all drag and drop, click and go, automatic, find your tags. It's really designed for engineers. Okay, if you're electrical, mechanical engineer, if you're a machine manufacturer, you can use it. You don't need to be a JavaScript or a Python programmer to do this. You don't need to understand cloud architecture to do this. You don't need it's really easy, and I'm going to show you guys in a bit. So here's one dashboard that I have created this morning. And as you can see, I can do history of my data, and I'm monitoring 3 variables over here. I can individually monitor one variable, and it looks really cool like that, a series variable over here. I can do what we call single status, and those could be gauges, could be a square that change colors and things like that. And we also can do alerts. So if you have a trending bar like this one or this other one on the right, you can associate an alarm setting to that historical data. So let's say that you're monitoring a sensor that goes all the way up to 50 degrees. If it hits over 50 degrees, you want to get an email. And you can see that my alert right now is activated over here. And I'm getting an email from ProfCloud that looks like that. Let me drag over here. And if you guys can see, ProfCloud just sent me an email saying, hey, your value is too high. And I define that message. And then show me the value in the screen and show me where exactly is too high and when it happened. So you can see the time over here at 14, my value went high. Okay, so it's pretty cool, pretty powerful, and it's really easy to set up. So now I'm gonna go back, and what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a little pause to see if anybody has questions. Justin, how are we doing on questions over there? We good?
Yeah, one question there was that said you mentioned that our Grafana was used and it was in our AWS instance. How's that different than using AWS directly?
Cool, perfect. Awesome question. So first of all, we need to use, when I said we are in AWS, is that everything you guys see, the visualization, the data, the databases, the cloud services, we use AWS services to build our services, okay? So we went out there, we hired a package of services from AWS, and we built ProfCloud, okay? But when we did that, we put all this implementation on top of it to make it easy, right? So you have Grafana to build your dashboards, you have device management from Phoenix Contact that easily find your devices and all that. Could you use one of our devices to send data straight to AWS and hire your own services and do the same? Yes, you could. However, you're gonna have to go through all those all that implementation, all that development on your own. And then in that case, if you really want to make it look good, you're going to have to hire a cloud engineer, right? And cloud engineers are out there and they do an amazing job. We have cloud engineers in the company. You can hire cloud engineers from Phoenix Contact right now. But it is a length the process. It takes longer, it will cost money, but of course, the potential you can unlock from hiring the cloud service yourself as opposed to go through a provider like Phoenix Contact, it's immense, right? So here you have access to what we defined as the services we want to let you use it. If you go straight up to AWS, you have access to everything AWS sells. However, you need to configure everything. Okay.
So what I'm hearing is if you send it right to AWS, you're going to get raw data there that looks not user friendly. You just get bits and bytes of data, and then you have to get somebody else, unless you're unless you're trained or knowledgeable on how to take that data and create a visualization, create an alarm. You have to go outside and hire somebody. The benefit to Profi Cloud is we've already done that configuration, that quote unquote engineering. We're taking that raw data and linking it to visualization services that are easily understandable by a general user.
Perfect. That's it. Okay,
Great.
that being said, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'm looking for an analogy over here, but it has upsides and downsides, right? The upside, it's extremely easy. It's fast. You get it done quickly, and one single engineer, a controls engineer, is empowered by it. Okay, now I'm empowering that control engineer that you can do your ladder logic programming, you can configure your IO, you can connect to the web, and you can go to Proof Cloud and do your own cloud solution. So I'm empowering that control engineer to do the whole IoT story by himself or by herself, right? As opposed to use a cloud service, a full-blown cloud service where that control engineer is not going to be able to work alone. He's going to have to either hire someone else to do that cloud instance or take classes and learn how to do it and then do it. So I think that's pretty clear where the advantage and disadvantages are. Can you unlock more capability and more power with a full AWS instance or a full-blown Microsoft Azure instance? Yes, you could, but you got to work for it. Okay.
Well, I mean, I even look at like the small, medium to small municipalities that, like you just said, there isn't a whole team there, doing control, they have a lot of jobs. They wear a lot of hats. So if they're looking for an easy way to just get their data onto the cloud so they can get alarms, they can view it from wherever they want to view it. This seems you're going to have set things you can do through our Profi Cloud. You're not going to have you'll have some customability, but you're not going to have full customization to everything. But we provided general dashboards that'll fit the majority of that small and medium user base. If they want full customization, they're probably going to have a big budget of, like you said, a group of engineers or a group of cloud engineers that do this already. So that wouldn't be necessarily where Profi Cloud fits. The big, big data big customer. You're looking at more small and medium municipalities that are having issues with, or want the data there, but they don't have the manpower to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good analogy. Really good user case. Small municipalities, small machine builders, or even small manufacturing plants. All right, so now I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna kind of show you all how easy it is to create something like that. So, and by the way, we have a dark mode, which is pretty neat. And when you start it and you have no dashboards, okay, you just hit that plus and then you create, and then you're already automatically prompt with your first panel, right? And adding panels to your dashboard is it's a 3 steps process. You pick a data point, you pick your visualization, and then you pick your configuration. So first of all, every panel will show up at the first time as a training panel, as a historian. Then what you want to do is to select your data point. So when you see down here, it's telling you Grafana. So it's using like a random generated number from Grafana to show you how that visualization could look like. But then, like I told you, you pick the data point, and I'm going to show you guys how we pick the data point here. And then you pick a visualization, which is on the right side. It says visualization here. And then you have all types of visualization. So you have a graph, right? You have time series, you have a single status, gauge, bar gauge, table of data, text, heat map, alert list, dashboard list, even news feed. You can do things like single map, and that's some sort of calculations you can add to that visualization. Pie chart, clock. You can add images to it and animate on that images. And we have a really cool one that I'll show on the end of this webinar for those interested. It's called Ace SVG. So you can also do animations, custom animations, if you know how to manipulate and program SVG files. Okay, so let's say that you're doing a graph and then you want to pick a data point. So the way you pick data points is, first of all, changing from Grafana to the UUID of your databases. And that represents your account, your databases. So all metrics of all devices that you have connected to your device management, they will show up under this DB number, whatever number that may be here. Okay, you're always gonna have one, unless you're building dashboards for multiple accounts, and that's multi-tenancy. That's another topic for another time. But then, because I'm only connected to my own account, I only see my own databases, and that's what we're gonna select. Then now it's asking you for the data points that you're gonna be showing on the screen. So I have a data point A, which I could change the name of that, but I'm gonna leave as A. And then the first thing you're gonna do is to select where from that data is coming. So you go to that plus, you pick it's coming from a UUID, right? Then you select the tag for that UUID, and you will show the UUID of all devices that you have connected to the account. Okay, so that can be pretty tricky if you have, if you, let's say you have over 100 devices, so you're gonna have over 100 UUIDs showing up over here, but you can always filter by typing down a couple of letters and you get the one, right? So that's the UID where I know I have data. So once you know the UID, then you can go back one step over here and select the measurement point in that UID, and automatically we'll bring it up all the data points, all the tags from that UUID. And you can see over here I have analog 1, and that's the one I want to measure. So as soon as you click it, it automatically brings up all the historical data of the data point and plots on the screen automatically. So I can see that this data point hasn't changed in a long time. And once you hit OK, apply, that panel is already in your dashboard. And if you guys want to see data changing over here, I'm actually gonna see if I can change it. So that's the 5. I'm gonna change that 5 from 5 to like 15. And we should be able to see the data changing over here as soon as my dashboard starts updating. Okay, there you go. So it just jumped at 11:25, which is the time right now. We had a jump, you see, 11:25 a.m. East Coast. We had a jump from 5 to 15, and you can see plotted right away, right? So what if I was, looking at the data as a single status now? So if you wanna, for instance, see the real-time data instead of seeing a historian, you can pick a gauge, right? And you can associate the data the same way I did. You pick your databases, UUID, the UID from the controller, back over here, and we're gonna go for the analog one again. And you see, it's a little confusing over here because we have a big unit. I think the unit, it's showing no data. Okay, so we can apply that, and then boom, we have the 15 value on the screen. And if I change that again, now we should be able to see that a little bit like real time. That is a delay. This is a cloud connection. It's not a runtime, PLC runtime. So that is, that is a delay in between the change. Okay, so it's already on 25 over here. And it's showing me the mean value of it. We can play around and instead of showing the mean value, we can just show the value, and that's 25. Okay, and that no data that is showing over there, it's I have I'm sorry, it's show it has no I just lost the word, but anyway, there is no data type defined. So it's 25 of what? 25 of PSI, of temperature, or Fahrenheit, Celsius. So it's 25 of no data. So I gotta go in and define that no data. Okay. Now I want to show you guys how would that look like as a for instance, pie chart. So the pie chart is kind of cool. So you can, in fact, so Yuri, what if I'm working with multiple values and I want to compare how one sensor is doing in comparison to another sensor? So you can just go over here, same thing, you select the data point, UUID, tag, and the measurement point. Okay. This time I picked analog 1, and then you add a second query because pie charts, they need more than one point to compare. So I had the A point, data point, and now I'm gonna add the B data point. And that's gonna be analog 1. There you go. So as soon as I add 2 data points, analog 1 versus analog 2, right? I can plot a pie chart comparing that data. I'm gonna try to add the third one over here, so you can have a triple pie. And that's gonna be my analog 3. So now I have the whole comparison in between those 3 data points. So, in average, this value has been 66.67% of my whatever output. And then I have this one and the other one, 9.52 and 23.81. So I think that's pretty neat for a lot of manufacturing types. It's an interesting way of monitoring data and so on.
And
All right, now I'm going to.
Yuri, in that section,
have a question?
That pie chart there, it'll change as data changes. So if the data point 2 gets bigger, the yellow space will grow and the blue space gets smaller, etc. Real time, no, not real time, but
you can do, I mean, you can set how the pie chart changes. Let's say that you want to measure that once a day. So once a day, you look at all your historical data, and then you pick the average value of the historical data, and then you plot it. Or you can do every hour or every 10 minutes. I mean, it's whatever you like to do. It's again, it's using historical data, so you can plot the historical data in any way that you wish to plot. All right.
Nice.
So
Thank you.
no problem. Now I'm gonna show you guys how easy it is to set an alert. Before we set alerts, I'll save that dashboard. And over here on the left side, you see that is a little thing called alerting. We need to go in, and one thing that needs to be set up before we set alerts is the notification channels. Notification channels are basically where is that alarm? Okay, where is that alert going to? As you can see, I have an email type set up over here, and I'm going through the process of setting a new one so you guys can see it. So you just pick a name, okay, and then you pick a type. So we have a lot of options in this alerting system. We have email. You can do Google Hangouts. You can do Discord for those who know what Discord is. We can do Microsoft Teams. So if you know, if your company uses Microsoft Teams, you can get the alert in the Teams. We can do Slack for companies with Slack as an option. Telegram. We can do webhooks. Webhooks means I can send that alarm to any website anywhere in the web as long as I have the correct URL and I'm enabled to do that. So there's a lot of options over here. The classic one, email, it's pretty easy. You just select email and you put your email address over here and you separate the email address with semicolon. So I'm gonna have my email over here. And I'll have Justin's email. So Justin and I are gonna get the same email as soon as the alarm triggers. So you save that, and that's about done. Okay. Now back in your dashboard. Okay, going back to this one. Copy 1, 2, 3. Let's say that we want to set an alert for this data point analoging in this historian. So you go in, you added it, and then there's a little thing over here called alert. Jump on that, create an alert, and then it's pretty damn easy. It's just you have conditions that you can add. So let's say that, and you can even drag and drop this thing, this little selector over here for your value. So as soon as I drop, you see it picks a alert zone. Okay, and that alert zone is it's set to be above something. I can change that to be below, and then you see that it's interactive. It goes down, up and down. I can work outside the range, so I can have like 2 selectors. I can work within a range, so I have this. So it's pretty damn cool the way we set up alerts. It's easy. It doesn't get any easier than that, if you will. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with the classic above, and I'm gonna say that if this thing is above 27 for 1 minute, okay, we get an alarm. All right, and then down here is where that notification channel that you created needs to be put in place. So you hit the plus, and then you pick the notification channel, which is test webinar, and then the message. Okay, so, and that's it. That's done. And then you apply it, and then now I'm gonna make that value go up. And then we should see an alert within 5 minutes or so. If you want to see from your dashboard if alerts are going out, there's a really cool option called alert list. You can just go over here and pick an alert list, right? This one. And then all your alerts are going to be shown in the screen. All right. So it's telling me over here that my alert has been up for 39 minutes, and that's the other one, which sent me this email. So, okay, and that's how the email is going to look like once we get it. Cool. Just any questions so far over there?
All good on this side so far.
Okay. Yeah, so that's about it. And the last thing I want to show you guys, I'm gonna put this alert side and go back to home over here. And I want to show you guys a very cool widget that we have. So this is called ACE SVG, okay? And that would be the most advanced functionality in Proof Cloud right now. Think that, hey, Yuri, what if I don't want to use those, widgets that Proof Cloud has? What if I don't want to use these gauges? What if I don't want to use, this type of training graphic? What if I want to see pictures of actual pumps and motors and pipes filling in, and a actual picture of my machine flashing lights and telling me what's going on in that picture, right? You can use ACE SVG to do that. You can design your machine or your visualization using any SVG type editor, and there are a few out there in the market. One that I use quite a bit is called Inkscape, and it's the free software. Also, if you want to go fancier, you could go with Adobe DreamWorks or Adobe Illustrator, and you create your SVGs, and then you can import them into Proof Cloud in the ASAP SVG app, and you can animate those SVGs, those little things going up and down with that fan spinning. How that can be animated, and the only requirement to do that is that you're gonna be prompt with a HTML5 and JavaScript logic. So the way you animate it is by programming in JavaScript. So that would be more advanced because you need JavaScript knowledge in order to do your animation, right? So it's a great project for an intern, if you will. So if you have an intern in your company coming out of school with computer science knowledge and you want someone to get good in this, that's a perfect project. It is JavaScript on training wheels. It's really basic, really easy to understand, and it's completely doable. And the power this can bring to your application is immense. You can, like I said, you could have a actual picture of your machine, changing colors and filling pipes or whatever it is that you do. Cool. Justin, I think that's about it. I don't have anything else for today.
So
Other than
one last
answering questions.
Yeah, I think one last question, Yuri. So early on, you showed the proficloud.io screen and all the different services that are available there. It showed everything was in euros. So what if somebody needs more tags, or they want a demonstration, or they need some of the services on there? How do they go about doing that? Should they enter their credit card on there, or should they just reach out to a Phoenix contact local person? What's the process on getting these services and things?
Yeah, great question. So for any information on that pricing and how to acquire that, just contact your local Phoenix rep, and they will work with you. It's not you cannot purchase in the site with credit cards yet. So you're gonna have to send a PO to Phoenix Contact, and we can manage that for you. And the price is converted from euros to dollars, depending on the exchange rate.
Great. So yeah, so Phoenix contact, local Phoenix contact person. Don't enter your credit card on the website; it won't work. So
Yes.
reach out to your ISC or ASC and get them involved, and they'll probably get a hold of Yuri and make sure we get this process easy for you and your customer instead of trying to figure out why the website's not working.
Yep.
Great. Thanks, Yuri. So I was a lot of great information, especially for me. I mean, learning the proficloud and everything. I hope everybody else had a good experience with this. If you missed the earlier webinars, or if you wanted to rewatch this one, you should get an email here with the links to rewatch the video. Or if you go to phoenixcontact.com/us-webinars, there are links to the reruns of all the seminars we've done over the past 6 to 8 months. So not just these automation infrastructure ones, but on different topics like security and IO-Link and PoE and managed switches. So if you haven't watched those, phoenixcontact.com/us-webinars will get you to that landing page, all those rerun links. So with that, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Yuri, thank you for your presentation today, and thank you to everybody attended. Hope to see you again in the future. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye. Have a nice one.